Please introduce yourself, your ID number, your course, company, name, position, and how many years you've been working in the company.
Okay. Yes, my name is Karina Velasco. I graduated computer science from LaSalle, ID 109. I'm currently working in Procter& Gamble as a systems analyst for around 2.5 years so far.
After you graduated from DLSU, or even before, did you already know that you would be a systems analyst, or did you like systems analysis when you were still studying?
No, I did not expect. Actually, siguro the number one factor I had choosing talaga was the company. So, but yeah, all entry level people, have systems analyst position in PNG. I really like to work here ever since because it's kind of different from other IT companies where it's very strictly IT, like, when you go to HP, Accenture, they really do IT. But here it's always in the context of business because PNG, it's not really an IT company. So the role that, most of the IT folks have in PNG is really, supporting the business para how to help PNG sell more, develop more products. So I really like it there in the context of the business. So I kind of chose more depending on the company than the role. So
What do you do in your job mainly? Could you give us some examples?
Okay, so well, my job as a systems analyst, I'm currently focused on doing more on quality management for Procter& Gamble's R&D system. So, if you have your bottle of shampoo, if you have your Tide, your Ariel, the systems, the IT systems that helps develop those products, the ones that are being used for formulation, for product packaging. So that's basically the type of systems that I work with. And I'm more on the quality side. So making sure that whenever we will release, new updates of the system that the PNG scientists are using, it goes through a good design, development, testing, and deployment process. So that's my job. And yeah, day to day, it's really a lot of working with vendors. Because as I mentioned, PNG, we're not an IT company. We need to outsource a lot of the work. So we work with, say for example, you work with a certain vendor like your HP, Accenture, in delivering your development, delivering your testing, and your day-to-day operations. So it's a lot of vendor management. It's a lot of getting to understand your business. So here we're talking about the PNG scientists, the R&D specialists, and understanding what their needs are and making sure that you translate it to a system that would fit their needs.
Okay, so what does it take to be a systems analyst? Do you need to have a particular skill?
Yes, you need to have, I think, as the name would imply, you need to have a lot of analytical skills because, the way I would really look at a systems analyst role, it's someone that, you need to be able to, from the information that you have. So for example, the requirements from your key users, the technical constraints of your whatever technology you're using, and be able to analyze all of those points to come up with the best way on how to deliver your system. So I would say analytical skills will be very important for a systems analyst role. And aside from that, I would say it's also important. Managerial skills would also be very important because when you're a systems analyst, you cover really a very big domain. I would say that I get to be involved from the start of the system. The system idea conception, right? So when you get your requirements and then you do the design, you do the development, the testing, the deployment to users, and then if it's deployed, the day-to-day operations, like you get to see all of those. So you work with so many people. You work with your programmers, you work with your testers. So you really need that skill also, like intrapersonal skills, managerial skills. So I think those are the key skills for a systems analyst.
Could you give us an example of projects or tasks you've been given in this company?
Okay. So siguro, projects typically come in for my role, it comes in as releases. So, yeah, diba, whenever you have your own software, any software that we use, diba, there are software releases. You get updates, even the apps that we use, you get updates. So, I would say that, a project for me would be a release. Right? So if, for example, your users want to add this certain functionality, I guess it, same goes with all of the other apps or systems that we're using. If they need a new functionality, it comes in as a project, to us. So meaning we need to have a release of our, software maybe by a certain target time, maybe by, by end of next year or something. And it comes in as a project. So the project will have its own life cycle. As I mentioned earlier, it will start from getting to know what your requirements are, all the way until you get to deploy it back to your users. And it doesn't end there. You need to make sure that, whatever you develop, it met what your users actually needed and what they gave as a requirement, right? So it's a very long process, and typically those are the projects that we have. Yeah.
So, is there anything about being a analyst that you particularly enjoy?
I particularly enjoy, well, it will definitely be, I guess when it comes to an end, when your project comes to an end, when a release is about to be deployed to key users, right? That's really where you will see, the objective of your project come to life, right? So when your user asked for something and then you went through the entire cycle to develop it and everything, and at the end when they get to use it, right, and then it met their need, then I think that would be the part that kind of excites me as well, because that's where you start to deliver the value, right? So like as IT professionals, we are really all about delivering value. Parang it's how do you help the people through technology do their day-to-day work. So it's all about value creation, and it's all about the most efficient way to achieve that value creation for your users. So yeah, I would say that's my favorite part. When you get to deploy and you create the value out of it. Yeah.
Would you say that there are perks on being a systems analyst over other fields in the industry?
Other fields in the IT industry,
Yeah.
right? I would say it's because it's not always very specialized. It's a broad dimension. So I guess um, the advantage I would see is, for people who would want to really understand everything more end to end, I think it's a good, first job to take, because you get to see it from all different aspects. So you're not starting very much like a specific role that you do, like if you do coding or if you do testing or if you do network security, it's focused on one dimension, right? But I think being a systems analyst, it lets you see the entire end-to-end process, and it even lets you see beyond, right? Because like here from the IT side, there will always be the business side to it, right? So once it's really being used by your users, that's the business side, right? How are you helping them achieve what they need to do? So yeah, I would say that's the advantage of being systems analyst. You get to get a broader view as your foundation, and I think that's a good place to start.
How has your experience in this company as their systems analyst been so far?
Great, happy. It's been great, I guess. Also because you really get to work with a lot of different people, like locally and even globally. So like PNG is a global company, right? My colleagues are from different parts of the world. There are some perks, you get to travel, you get to be flexible with your time. Kumbaga, it's not an 8 to 5, job that you sit and do something the entire day, right? So every day it's kind of a new challenge, a new thing that you have to deliver, and a new experience with the people that you're working with. So I would say that it has been good, from that aspect. And that's really what I wanted. I wanted something really a little more dynamic. So it's a lot of communication. It's a lot of understanding people, what they need, and helping them deliver.
What is the significance of having a systems analyst in a company?
It's very, very significant. So as I mentioned here, in PNG IT, we start, everyone starts as a systems analyst, right? And it's really because of, that, as I mentioned, that broad dimension that you get to see. And then you tap into like every aspect. And also, as I mentioned, PNG is really not an IT company, so we might not have that, broader set of roles that you really get to have your developer, your network engineer, your security. We work with vendors for that. We work with vendors who specialize in IT for that. So, yeah, I think with that, systems analyst role for a company like P&G is very, very important because it's all about, how do we always make sure that the systems that we're using is helping us build our business, right? How are the systems we're using, for example, helping the scientists create their products? How the people from the plants manufacture their products? How the people from, the planning and the sales gets to actually sell the products and distribute the products. So it's all about making sure that your systems, deliver what they need to do to help, your colleagues. Yeah.